Okay, you are live.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to I do believe this is our last working group meeting for Reimagining Akron Police. If I could get a motion for our previous meeting minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'm trying to get to that screen. Bear with me here. Not too much open for our agenda. Here we go. Agenda. So today we're going to discuss test prep and mentoring and OPATA, discussion on OPATA courses brought in-house. I'm sure we all have received the documents sent over by Lieutenant Forney. Did you all receive that document? Okay. I'm not sure if Lieutenant Forney, if you could talk a little bit about it. Some years ago, the Akron Police Department had a test prep program that you offered to those who are interested in being police officers. Can you tell me how long did that program go on and when did it end, and sort of give us an idea of how that program was ran when it was up and running?
Sure, I will. I probably need to defer a little bit to Lieutenant Fight because I think that program it was several years ago. I mean, it was even before I come on, which was 28 years ago. I think that's when they had such a program where they met once a week or something like that and did some coaching and some instruction. But Al, are you aware of anything since that time?
I'm aware that the Urban League years ago, and you're right, 20, maybe 30 years ago, did prep courses for civil service tests for police and fire.
I need to get off mute here, I guess. Since that was probably before you all's time, how would we track that information down? Because that's something I really would like for us to look at, and is that prep part. I think that could be very, very useful to a lot of our possible candidates to have that resource there to help them prep for the test.
Al, could you go ahead, Al? I think there is a little bit of a prep test or prep part in the new test that we've had recently. It's all computer based, but I'm sure Al knows a little bit more about that.
Yeah, over the last 8 years, our test has been a video-based test. And again, so everybody's on the same page, HR is the entity that secures the vendor and gives the test. The police department has very little to do with the testing. That video testing does have a video practice test. Once the applicant signs up for a position of police officer, and before the test, HR will send out a certificate which allows the candidate to go on and do a practice video test for the upcoming test. The video testing that they do, and I talked to Stacy Doty a little bit this afternoon about it, requires an ability to read, write, and make good decisions. That's basically what it is set up to do. You do not need any prior law enforcement or police experience to take this test. It's the reading, writing, comprehension, and decision-making test. And our position is we can teach you how to be a police officer in the academy.
So do you know when they're doing this prep, is it just a one-shot deal, or is it a test that if a candidate or an applicant is taking and they have areas of strength and weaknesses, is there a way where they can go back and maybe maybe decipher the information a little more and then retest again, or is it just a one-shot deal?
I'm not totally for sure, but I do think it gives you some feedback when you take the test, and you can go back in and take it several times to help practice and prepare. Again, HR would be
HR, okay.
the entity to talk to them about their test.
Okay. Have you or do you know of any candidates in the past that may have taken the test, or before they've taken the test, maybe interact with you all, maybe go on some ride-alongs, or maybe come and sit at some call days? Do you know if any of that has ever happened?
Sure. When we go out recruiting, we invite people to do ride-alongs and come along and find out what the department's about, what it's like to be a police officer in the city of Akron. And we also even push it a little bit more after the testing phase and the background phase. We encourage our candidates to come do a ride-along and see what the job's like.
Okay.
And those ride-alongs are open
Mhm.
all year round. I mean,
Right. Has there ever been any opportunities for shadowing, maybe after, during the test part, after they've taken the test, and for them to shadow an officer outside of a ride-along?
I don't know about shadowing, but an example that they did this last time is, so we had the academy up and running with 46 people in it, and we were doing training up here at our facility. Well, there was a group of, I think about 20 that are on the next, that were further down on the list, that when we have another class, they're going to be part of that group. Well, about 20 of those individuals at different times, I think they came up in groups of about 4 or 5, actually came up to the training that we were conducting with the group, this last group of 46, and they sat in during some of the instruction. They saw some of the physical skills we were doing. So just to kind of keep them interested, kind of see what they were in store for once they started their training. So we did do that this time around, which I thought whoever's idea that was, I'll give you credit for. I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, our whole goal is to keep our applicants interested in the position, and we do what we can to keep them interested and make sure they follow through.
Jeff or Brad, do you guys have anything to add to that point?
Yeah, do you lose many? And I know it's probably pretty fluid in terms of the timing between when.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. I think I lost everybody there. I had a phone call just came in. Sorry about that. Okay, take 2. So is there a huge time frame between, and I know it's fluid, but do we lose many who may be in that second tier or even third tier of applicants? Do we lose many during that time frame?
When we went back a couple of years ago and looked at our process, that was one of the concerns we had, is that people that were on a list could lose interest, and we wanted to speed our process up, get through the backgrounds and hired to retain that interest. And those that were left on the list, if any, after our first group went through, we want to keep them informed, and we sent out emails periodically. HR sent emails out just letting them know that there may be another opportunity down the road. And we do naturally lose people. People find other employment. They go to other departments. It's highly competitive out there right now in this career field, because everybody's fighting over the same candidates. So yes, it's highly competitive, and we do lose people as the list or the eligibility list gets a little bit older, or stale, as I call it.
Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. I'm just wondering again, the flexibility of the city, it seems we should try to encourage that. Um, have a place for them to maybe be employed by the city, even if it's on an interim basis, part-time basis, whatever the case is, to keep them, kind of in the system, if you will, to keep the captive audience, if you will. Try to find ways that we can employ them and keep them interested, I guess. Maybe that's for another day, but and obviously our HR folks have to be included in that, but that's my one question.
I will comment, to keep engagement, after our first 45 were hired last year, we continued doing backgrounds on at least another 19 candidates to keep them engaged, to let them know that we're going to continue to do these backgrounds, and if openings come up, we'll hire from the list, just to keep people engaged. So we're trying to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question about the training and the email that was sent by Lieutenant Forney. Do you have any idea what OPATA's intentions are going forward with their classes, since they've only kept 5 of their instructors?
Unfortunately not. I think a lot of people on their end are, they're doing more and they're doing jobs that they weren't used to doing. So the communication has not really been that good. I know that we were supposed to have they have a monthly meeting that was supposed to occur this morning at 10 o'clock, like a curriculum meeting that you can log in during Zoom, and that was canceled and hasn't been rescheduled yet. So I just think there's a lot of unknowns down there, what's going on. So, and they're really not sharing much with us beyond what what we're getting.
Well, with that being said, do you see more potential to actually, instead of going there, holding classes at our facility? And like you said, when we have these classes, we're able to have some of our own members in there without a fee or at a reduced fee.
Yes, I do. And we're doing some of that. We have like I said, we got some irons in the fire going with that.
Okay.
I'm actually working with the Summit County Prosecutor's Office to do like a courtroom testimony class for our officers. That's scheduled sometime in January. What we're trying to do a little bit, instead of doing everybody, 500 officers, including the reserves and in service, which is difficult to get a commitment for an instructor to do that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to roll out classes that might be specific, like that, like I talked about, that better courtroom testimony, open it up for about 20 of our cops, and then do it, 4 or 5 times throughout the year to get people through, so we can really specialize and dig down into a subject. So that's what we're trying. And we got about, like I said, 4 or 5 or 6 of those things. We've already done a couple of them, but that's what we're kind of working towards here in 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So Lieutenant Forney, I don't know if you know off the top of your head, as we keep going back to the OPATA instructors and possibly bringing some of those courses in-house, do you know offhand how many officers, detectives are certified in some of those areas that would need to be, having continuing education courses on or some kind of training on?
Well, I do know that number. I do have that number. I would have to go, I have a database on that, but I can tell you that in this last academy, we had 53 different instructors in this last academy. So I know that our pool is a little bit bigger than that, but we used 53 people this last 46 people that we put in, over the 24 weeks of training.
Wow, that's a nice size number. If you could get us that to us, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, we have a spreadsheet with all our OPATA instructors, and what they are certified in. We do have that.
Okay, thank you. Trayvon or Shelby, do you have any questions about any of the topics that we've touched on?
I don't have any yet.
So my thought, and maybe you all could maybe add some input to this. I know we're supposed to have our document together by December to present to our council. So anything that we may have not touched on, if you guys want to talk about that, or things that you all would like to see in that reimagining process, and maybe we can bounce those things off of this, off of our spreadsheet prior to us turning it in December, so we can have something really conducive to present to our council body, our council president. I think that would be very helpful. So it's coming from the collective. Because again, like I've said before, and like I'm sure Brad and Jeff have said, this is you all's work. You do this every single day. So you may have things that we may think need change, but you may have a different insight on it. So we want to make sure that all of those components are within this document that we present in December. The document you sent over today, Lieutenant Forney, was very, very helpful, especially as we continue to talk about OPATA and how bringing those services possibly in-house. That's very, very helpful. And knowing that we have so many in-house instructors, that definitely helps us be able to shape what could possibly happen over in that area and save some time, and then making sure officers still get training. So anybody else got anything to add? It seems really crazy that we would have such a short meeting.
Well, I know that we've, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Fosco, would you like
No,
to?
no, I yield to you, Lieutenant.
Well, I mean, I brought this up in a different meeting or another meeting we had, a previous, you know, some things that I'd like to really see us do in training is we talked about that roll call training and doing these, you know, these short videos, blasts of a, whatever the subject may be from the you know, even a very simple subject. Like I talked about the pouch that was going to be worn on the duty belt, how that actually would function. You know, to be able to have the technology to do that, to have a standardized voice coming out of the training bureau to each roll call shift, I think that's something we could do better on. I know our groups, our captains are doing it individually, but I'd like to see us as an agency just have a more consistent and more often roll call training opportunities or capabilities.
I'm just writing. So I said, Jeff, what did you want to add?
Well, just that I do have another conversation with scheduled for Tuesday with Mr. Rice, reference what we spoke about in terms of, you know, recruiting earlier than later. So if it's okay with the committee, I'm going to continue to kind of push the ball down the field a little bit on that. The one thing we did discuss was, you know, like next steps and who ought to be included in a conversation with all that. So if anyone from this group would like to be part of that, or if Samples, if you want to, you know, share that, you know, we could schedule another time or however you want to play it out. But
just let me know when you're going to meet with them, and if I'm not on mom sitting, I'll absolutely join you.
yeah, and I'll obviously keep everyone informed. I could certainly do that.
I was going to say, if it's going to be a quorum of 2 or more members, it would need to be a live meeting on YouTube. So please let me know, because we would need to notify the public.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But yeah, we just have a telephone
Right.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal when it comes to hiring is to make Akron as attractive as we can, to bring in as many qualified people that we can to fill our safety forces, and also grow our own. I think we should look outside and inside, grow our own, and And I like a lot of the pathways that have been mentioned to bring in people and younger people and train them and pique their interest. So I think we're heading the right direction when it comes to that. When it comes to testing and maybe tutoring, like I said, reading and a little bit of writing would be a help to some. I do think we have a pretty good pass rate on our written examination, but any tutoring would be of help.
I'll show my age a little bit because I do remember when they would have those classes at the Urban League, and that is going quite a ways back. But I know some of the people that came on during those times, and those classes were quite a bit helpful to them during the testing process. But I do believe a lot of the testing processes have changed quite a bit from the original type of civil service examinations as to what's done now, because I think there's a certain percentage of it is an assessment center as well. So it's a little bit of a change in the dynamics of it.
Okay, can I chime in here for just a second?
Absolutely.
Okay. We're talking a lot about testing and in terms of recruitment, what I would like to see is a way for us to, as police officers, and what we need is somebody in the community who is, for lack of a better term, cool, maybe a local celebrity or somebody to actually say something about police officers being cool again, because you have to get the young people interested and you have to make them feel as if they're doing something. I hate to use the word cool because I'm really showing my age when I use that word. There's got to be a younger word. But right now, when you look at everything that's in print media or online or whatever, it's really, law enforcement's not, we're not cool like we used to be. When I thought about becoming a cop, I will admit part of it was because it was cool. But so I think what we need to do, but we need to get them to the test first. We need to speak their interest in a way that makes them really feel like it's something special again to become a police officer. And to do that, we have to get to the people who they listen to. And they listen to, somebody like LeBron James, or they listen to, musicians, and they don't listen to us. And they certainly, they don't listen to politicians. They listen to others. And so if there was a way to get somebody like that on board with the recruiting process, I think that we could touch more young people that way. And then to kind of touch on what Lieutenant Forney was saying about roll call training, I 100% agree, because you have a captive audience every single day in roll call where you can teach them something before you put them out on the street every single day, so it's fresh in their minds. And if we do that in a more organized fashion across 5 shifts, because one thing you don't know unless you actually work inside of APD is that when we have 5 shifts, we actually have like 5 little police departments that sometimes operate independently of each other in what everybody learns. And so if there is some consistency among that, every shift commander does roll call training a little bit differently. I can tell you that my shift loves roll call training when for the most part, they really do enjoy that, because we don't get enough training, and training is almost like when you get some training, that's like a treat. They love it. And so I think that's a really good thing. It's a great idea Lieutenant Forney has, and I would love to see whatever it takes to get something more consistent in place on a regular basis. I don't know what that would look like, but I think that's one definite thing we could probably do almost immediately. It wouldn't have to be something that would take that much to do. But again, back to recruiting. I mean, we've got to find a way to get these guys interested, guys and gals interested, and it isn't going to come from us as much as it is going to come from somebody they actually listen to, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. That's some good feedback from you all. That definitely helps us a lot, especially as you both are all talking about the training on your shift calls. You said there's 5 shifts? Yeah, okay. Writing it down. Okay, and Shelby or Trayvon, do you guys have anything to add to that prior to us closing out our meeting? That being the younger of the elders on this call, you, you all may look at things a little differently than we do.
I know that we talked a couple meetings ago about setting up a better pathway for like going into the public sector or safety sector. And since I'm the one writing the report, is that something that you guys would like to include, like some like a creation of a group that would provide a definite and clear career path so that we can start recruiting younger?
Yes, yes,
Yes. Okay, awesome. I will definitely include that. Thank you.
okay. Okay. And anyone else have anything to add? No? Well, I think we have made record time today. I do want to extend my condolences to you all for Officer Kenny Jones. And I did reach out to Captain Beitzel, and I saw her on the news, and I may have cried a little bit, but you were very sincere in your words, and you could tell that he was loved by you all. And I just wanted to make sure I extended that to you all. It shows that you all are a family there, outside of everything that's going on here in the world and what people may say about officers. It shows that you guys are close knit, and that just proved it. So I don't know if any of you all have anything else to say, but I think we may be done for the evening. Lieutenant Forney, you have something to add to that?
Not to that, but I guess since this is going to be our last one here, I just want to offer that if anybody wants to reach out, I'm sure the captain and Lieutenant Fighter feel the same way. If anybody wants to reach out to me for anything about that I can help you with, the Training Bureau or the Akron Police Department, you know, you can call me anytime. And I'll do whatever I can to answer any questions or help you understand something or help me understand something better. But anyways, I just want to throw that out there that I'm here if you have any further questions or anything.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. And I do plan on coming to a roll call. COVID seems to just keep throwing everything off. Now I feel like I'm not allowed to leave the house right now. It's like we're all on punishment again. So with all that, if I could get a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Can we get a second? Second, I saw that, Jeff. I'm gonna start doing it in our council meetings.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we are adjourned. You all have a good